Barissa scores! There's scenes here at Perry Park!
Chris Lynn has taken the wild thing and sent him.
Oh, Bateman! Bateman! Yeah!
And welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Sidelines podcast. With me, as always, is Angus Bryan and Finn Morton. How are we, boys?
Yeah, good, mate.
Yeah, mate, pretty good.
This is good. All right, should we just get straight into it?
Yeah, we should.
We should.
So.
All right, so first off, we got our Fast Five as always. Andy Pengelly signs for Peninsula Power. Now, they finished third place last year, ahead of Strikers. What do we think of the move, boys?
Look, I don't 100% agree with it. It's Andy's decision, so no matter what, I don't really have much of a say on it. But it doesn't make a lot of sense him moving from an NPL side to another NPL side. You think he'd want to move up, not sideways.
Also, Strikers are in the spotlight there, being in the conversation for an A-League position. He was a top goal scorer last year with 41. Look, I mean, he did score, 11 in one game or 9 in one game?
He scored 9 against Sunny Coast.
There you go.
I think it was. I think he used to play at Peninsula, so he's got a history there.
He did.
But you're right, Campbell. The Strikers, they've got that media presence at the moment, don't they?
They certainly do.
But I don't think they qualified for the FFA Cup next year.
Pen Power?
The Strikers.
Well, that's the big competition, isn't it?
Because they didn't come top 4. Oh, they'll have to go through qualifying maybe.
Yeah, they'll have to do all that.
But I know Peninsula definitely would have.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they're more likely to win an NPL title. So it's
they certainly are.
That's why he wants to go there.
You would have thought an A-League side would have come knocking, considering he's the top goal scorer in the NPL, scoring 41 goals for the season. And with that amazing run that the Strikers did have, you'd think he'd be getting a bit more attention from A-League sides.
Before we wrap up, I will say this. He didn't necessarily stand out on the national stage.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. And there's NPL competitions all around the country. So he doesn't necessarily stand out as much as you might think in Queensland. Maybe Victorian clubs are more likely to go for Victorian players.
Yeah, certainly.
So
certainly. We've seen a NPL Victoria player be picked up for Western United. There's a few in that squad and stuff like that. Obviously, it's pretty much starting from scratch. So we've seen that. Moving on, we've had a bit of a lack of Gabba crowd, or a lack of a crowd at the Gabba for this recent Test match against Pakistan. I remember watching it pretty much completely empty. Does the Gabba deserve another Test match this summer?
Well, based off that, you'd have to say no. I mean, it's all about getting people to games, and that's the whole point of it. And to have only, what they said, about 5,000 or 4,825 people show up on the final day of the Test match against Pakistan, it's not good signs, and it's not something you want to see if you're putting in a bid to get a Test match.
But no one would have gone to that last day anyway. The game was already over.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think it's necessarily fair to just go off that one day of attendance.
Yeah.
The rest of it, the days before that, I think it was okay, attendance-wise.
I mean, it was hot. The conditions in Brisbane recently have been not great for watching sport, and the Gabba isn't a place you really want to go on a hot day, so I can understand a lot of people not wanting to go. And again, it is Pakistan. It's not a side like England or New Zealand or South Africa.
Who's going to go to day 4 of a Test match when Australia are going to win by an innings plus against Pakistan? So pretty much what you just said, mate. But if it was someone else, maybe. But it's such a one-sided Test match that people aren't going to waste their money on a full day's ticket price.
Yeah.
When it's only going to go for a session.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, moving on. We've talked a bit about CT before, concussions. So what could this mean for the future of rugby level at all leagues? The NRL has pledged an annual $250,000, or pledged that much annually, for a landmark concussion study. It'll be led by the Harvard Medical School. What do we think about this, boys?
Well, it's I think rugby league might go down rugby union's track and maybe have a bit more precaution over tackling and that type of thing. Rugby league's very lax about head-high tackles and that type of thing.
Yeah, tackling technique is also very different.
It is, but that's because it doesn't really matter if you tackle someone head-high.
No.
If you get someone on the head in union, it's a red card.
Yeah.
And I think in league, we might go down that track soon, but also mandatory headgear could be a thing we might see.
Could be a thing.
Well, you see a lot of the time in rugby league, the contact is very harsh. Like, there's a lot of contact in rugby league.
But it's also very high.
It is very high, and you got the distance that players run into each other as well. You got a bigger distance there compared to union. And I know with this study, they're doing tests with former NRL players and seeing what the impact has on their brain capacity and
Yeah.
ability to take in new information and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see what their findings are.
I think
in
a
this
rugby
study.
league tackle is something like how many Ks an hour?
Oh, no
It's
idea. But
something like they worked it out to be like something crazy, like 60 Ks an
it's
hour.
big
or something.
boys running into even bigger boys.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not good for your head.
Shouldn't the tackling laws in rugby league be stricter?
I think
Because
so.
they have more time to go, I need to tackle this high safely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the
Whereas-
NFL would benefit from that as well.
No, but you look at union where you can quite literally have, a bloke can run from half a metre away from you, right? A pick and drive. And then if you get him in the head, you get sent off.
Yeah.
That's next to no reaction time compared to league where, again, 2 guys running from 10 metres away.
Yeah. Well, I think we've talked about it before. Union are a lot more serious about the head injuries. Of course, you mentioned this just before.
But that shouldn't be the case, mate. That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. At the moment, the standards in league, you get hit in the head, it's an automatic penalty. I feel like they should follow after Union. It should be a send-off.
And I think these findings will be quite telling.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly representing what you're saying, Gussie, about, it's too laxed.
Yeah.
And that's going to be reflected in the study with some pretty, I think, damning findings, I think.
It's a massive issue, and it's good that some money's being pledged, especially from the NRL towards it. Huge one for Rugby Australia. Fox Sports are to drop the Super Rugby rights.
That's right.
Coming up. Optus have been considered as the next destination. Where do you guys think it should go?
Well, to start with Foxtel, that's a 2-decade-long partnership.
It is.
Guys. So this is pretty damning for Australian rugby if you can't have rugby on TV.
Yep.
And what does this mean for, fans in Australia, but also the young kids when even less people have access to Optus?
I don't understand why it's going to Optus. Like
It's because the future's in streaming.
Yeah.
I feel like doesn't Optus, you have to like buy a phone plan to even watch this stuff?
You've got to
Pretty
be
much.
a Foxtel SIM card holder.
Optus.
That is just ridiculous. You shouldn't. That shouldn't be the case.
Well, even Foxtel, like, it made sense, like, when we were kids, like, from probably when we were the age of, say, 4, 5, 6 to when we were about 12, when for everyone, pretty much, a lot of people had Foxtel, right? Because that's what people had in their houses. That's the demographic of rugby and Super Rugby, Rugby Australia. But now that people have moved towards streaming, dropping Foxtel for a lot of people, doesn't make as much sense if they've got Netflix.
Well, it makes business sense.
Yeah, Netflix, Standby, KO. Where's it going to go?
It makes more sense if more people have access to Optus, but
Yes,
they don't.
they
When
don't.
you're limiting it to just Optus members,
Yeah.
that's where it gets dangerous for rugby because people aren't going to stop watching it. They're going to watch more league. They're going to watch more AFL. They're going to watch more cricket, and rugby's going to go down the drain.
So do you
Needs
think
to
it's
be
a
free to wear?
Do you think it's a positive thing?
No,
No.
not at all. Rugby in Australia, especially after Israel Folau and if he bankrupts Rugby Australia, this could end the sport down under, or at least here,
In
not
the
New
short
Zealand.
term,
Not
exactly.
New Zealand.
No, not in New Zealand. I think it needs to go to free to wear as well.
That's another thing, but that's not going to happen either.
No,
because
not
it's
gonna
all
happen.
about money and
Yeah.
where's the most money at?
They need to think more long term about it though, because no one's bloody watching the sport. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, no one can watch it, so they're like, it becomes the fourth code,
That's part of the
fourth
issue.
most popular code.
That's part of the issue with rugby. I think they think in 4-year cycles.
Yeah,
don't they? With
they think, oh, where's the instant money?
no, let's go to the next World Cup and
Yeah.
let's reassess.
Was there a way they could stream it through their own websites?
Probably.
I feel like that'd be like allowed to
No,
be free, I guess, to people, or
but
$5 a month or
that's
something.
that's
to-
harder to pitch to advertisers though.
Watching it
for
through
it.
their website, you could still
Yeah,
advertise on
again,
your own website.
it's a bit of a shame, mate. But sport now, in the current day and age, dominated by money.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Rugby Australia aren't just going to stream it themselves when they can
Yeah.
go Optus. They'll buy it for $30 million a year.
But that's not a good long-term decision.
You
is
may
it?
you may see that though in 10, 15, 5 years maybe, where it's company or organizations streaming their own sports. You already see it in smaller organizations, so why not? Anyway, moving on. We went to Allan Border Field twice this week. Gussie and I
Yes.
went.
Yeah.
Finn, you went once because you're a fake fan. No, I'm joking. Just because you had
Fake
family.
Allan Border
You had family commitment. Great games there.
Oh,
First
yeah.
one maybe a little long. First game we saw the Marsh one-day domestic cup
Mate, it went for
grand final.
Went for the whole day.
Went for the whole day.
That's what
It's
one
one
days
dayer.
usually do.
Catch on quick, Gussie.
So that was Western Australia versus QLD. Western Australians taking that out, captained by Ashton Turner. Really good game. Well, not really. it was a little bit of a slow one.
Yeah.
And then we watched the WBBL when the Renegades took on the Heat and won.
Yeah, the Renegades won.
Surprisingly. But, boys, main point of this is, should more games be taken to Allan Border Field?
We think so. After what we watched and what we experienced, I feel like a lot more games should be taken there. It was just more of the fan day experience, I thought.
Yeah.
I brought it up when I was there. It was kind of like going to Movie World or going out on a family trip or something. The atmosphere, was really great. The crowd was enjoying it. Everyone was happy. It was like, I don't know, but whenever I go to the Gabba or to Suncorp, alcohol...
You're not happy.
Well, no, of course I'm happy. I love sport.
He doesn't like sport.
No.
There are a lot more...
He does architecture.
There are a lot more characters at the big grounds. A lot of people. This gave off a more friendly atmosphere.
Certainly.
If you were to take more games to the Allan Border Field, what games would you take there?
Well, it wouldn't be the top grade. So
wouldn't be BBL.
It wouldn't be BBL, and it wouldn't be test matches or stuff like that.
Because that's not realistic. Because they're still getting, BBL certainly is getting capacity attendances to the Gabba.
Yeah.
And when the Gabba is fully attended, great venue. But when it's not, terrible venue.
Yeah, but WBBL, it's great to see that at Allan Border Field. I thought that was brilliant. Sheffield Shield, I think they should take every game to Allan Border Field. No point playing at the Gabba. I mean, other than the fact that they get practice playing on the Gabba wicket.
That's the big reason against, mate. These players need that experience of playing at the Gabba.
But the Gabba wicket changes every time. How bad was it for this test?
It does, but it also doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty well the same.
And then you look at places like the
green.
Wacker, you know there's going to be bounce, and
Wacker's
the Gabba, you know
tough.
there's going to be bounce and pace. So that's what they're getting used to.
Wacker's a smaller ground, though. Are they still playing at Wacker, or are they playing at, Optus?
Optus.
Sheffield Shield.
But it's the same. Optus is the Wacker. It's the same thing. It's the same pitch. You get the same conditions. And look, Allan Border Field's pretty much the same conditions to the Gabba. So you shouldn't be getting too much different. You shouldn't get anything drastically different. You're not going to get an English wicket out there.
I think only take it to the Gabba when on weekends.
You can get a crowd.
Or when some days are going to fall on the weekends.
We were there on a Wednesday.
No,
and it was full. Well, on Wednesday it was packed.
Yeah.
But I'm talking
really
about
good turnout.
Sheffield Shield cricket, when they take it to the Gabba, more often than not, man won't bring his dog. There's no one there.
The Gabba's also a tough place to go.
It is.
To watch cricket, you can't really... Well, there's not
really
really any
drive
parking.
there.
There's parking at Allan Border Field. You can...
There's local places. You can go down to Macca's really easy, which you can do at the Gabba as well, but there's coffee shops nearby. Like, it's a nice place to watch. It's on the train line.
But yeah, what I'm trying to say is, only go to the Gabba when people might actually go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Take advantage of actually going there. Other than that, Allan Border Field.
Yeah, 100%.
And to be fair, I think they play there enough anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get the scheduling wrong and they go, oh, look, let's just play round 3 at the Gabba because why not?
One more thing. Would you take other codes to Allan Border Field? I know it's primarily it's cricket, but would you consider playing other sports? Maybe Intra Super Cup, maybe a bit of football there?
No, I'd only play AFL if I was going to play anything there.
I think so.
And it's not the right ground for footy, and Cooperoo's just as good.
Yeah, certainly at the grassroots level, there's enough facilities for teams to play at good venues for their codes. And I like the fact that Allan Border Field's a cricket venue.
Yeah.
It's just like Ballymore being a rugby venue.
Yeah. We were speaking to our friend Josh, and he was saying, so we were going to meet up with him at the one dayer, and he was saying he rocked up to the Gabba. Because to him, there's only one cricket venue in Queensland, and that's the Gabba. So the Gabba has that reputation, but I feel like they need that kind of, to build Allan Border back up, especially with our kind of generation, as the Queensland cricket venue.
But he didn't have a great day at the cricket at the Gabba, did he?
No one was there.
Partly because there was no cricket on. But other than that, just didn't really seem to enjoy it.
No.
He seemed a bit off, Josh.
Did seem a bit off. Anyway, we're moving on. Now, we've had the AFL draft over the past 2-3 days. We've seen some interesting picks, but I guess we give you a bit of a rundown of what we think the best picks, the worst picks, what we think of the whole situation, if there was any confusion. But this week we're going to be, I guess, reviewing the AFL draft.
Trying to.
Yeah. Best of our ability. But you can listen to that now. And welcome back. We're going to go into the AFL draft. It was last night and tonight, or I guess the last 2 nights if you ask. So 2019, so what is it? 2019 AFL Draft?
2019 is the year, mate.
It is the year, but it's the 2020 season, so who knows? Anyway,
2019/2020. We'll go with that.
We'll go with that. Lots of picks, obviously, 65 made in total. Lots of interesting ones around the board. Lots of teams won, lots of teams lost. But the big talking point, I guess, is the Gold Coast Suns having the first two. We're going to go right in. We're going to analyse the top 10 first. Staying on that Gold Coast Suns theme, Matt Rowell and Noah Anderson, inside midfielders. Great story, boys.
Mate, the friends, right? The
boyhood
played at
heroes.
the same club.
BFFs.
Yeah,
Same club,
Oakley
same
Chargers,
school.
Vic Metro, same school. They've been pals since they were very young. There's a photo of them in Vic shirts or maybe it was Oakley Chargers shirts, since they were like 11 together in the locker room. So it's a great story, and I think the big talking point about that for me is even if, Matt Rowell was kind of the number one pick, no doubt. He's going to be pick number one. Noah Anderson was a bit more fringe. He was thought they were the consensus 1 and 2 picks, but being the Gold Coast having so many issues with players going off the rails and yada, 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 do you think them picking two best mates will help them keep them on track?
Well, as long as they stay grounded, and hopefully they can help each other stay grounded. But at the same time, they'll be tempted to go, hey, mate, let's go clubbing this week.
This is true.
Possibly. I think it'll definitely help that team's chemistry in the midfield. I mean, you've been playing with this guy your whole life. I think they pretty much know what each other are thinking, almost. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see.
I agree with that. I think that's
chemistry.
a big thing in the sports we follow more closely, Gussie. Chemistry, even in football.
Yeah.
Massive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Means so much. And I don't think it's the reason Noah Anderson got drafted second.
No.
But it helped him.
I think it did,
Didn't
for
it?
sure.
But it is almost dangerous for this Gold Coast side because they drafted Sam Flanders at 11.
Yeah.
And now they've got, I think there was a photo after round one.
With the
draftees from last year.
And
All young guys, really young guys. Is that good for the Suns, or is it bad?
It's the only way forward for them at this point.
But youth in the Gold Coast, that's a recipe for disaster.
But do you think you can get some players that go, you know what, let's turn this around? There's been a terrible culture around this club. Do you think they go, you know what, let's just turn it around, boys? Like, this is just terrible.
Well, that's one way to look at it, but they might also go, hey,
we're getting paid.
Hasn't worked out here. I got paid. I'm going to go to Melbourne.
I can do a, what's his name? Richmond.
Tom Lynch.
Tom Lynch.
Lock it in. Eddie. Yes. No, but they might do that. They might just go, look, I'll go chase a flag at a club that's more likely to win one than the Suns. And this is very much, last chance saloon for the Suns.
I was just about to say that. Well, what kind of pressure do you think these boys would be under signing with the Suns, a side that's really struggling, and this is probably their last chance?
Well, there's two ways to look at that. Internally, a lot of pressure. Externally, the Suns have no fans, so they'll be okay.
Yeah, no problem.
No.
Media, the Melbourne, it's not even the Gold Coast media. Like, they don't care that much.
No.
It's more the Melbourne media. So, and I remember I heard Tom Boyd say this once on a podcast with Bob Murphy. Sorry, I was listening to another podcast.
Not this
podcast.
Okay, well, that's
cheater.
Treachery.
Sorry. But he was saying that, like, he thought when he went to GWS and maybe wasn't performing where he should have been, the media pressure wasn't very high because it wasn't that big of a deal in Sydney AFL just wasn't that big of a deal, especially for GWS. Whereas when he could sense the pressure from down south being quite, pressing. But then when he went down south to Melbourne, play for the Dogs, he felt, again, the pressure, and especially under the deal he had, with lots of money, obviously. He did find that pressure, but I think it's different with the Gold Coast.
Well, they've also got AFL given picks next year.
They do.
So
these next 2 years are 100%
exactly,
last
they're
chance
massive.
saloon.
But it's in a way for these two guys, or these three guys coming in. Are they expected to blow the field away this year, or to not challenge, but are they expected to become 12th or whatever? Probably not. They're more expected to maybe do that next year when they bring in the next wave of youth, next wave of recruits. They can maybe spur some good performances.
It's almost like they're restarting again, you know?
What I'm thinking is they're wanting to build the club around these two. best friends. You want to.
Mate, don't forget about Sam Flanders. He's there too.
And we saw like a photo of them last night where it kind of looked like it was these two and the other guy.
Yep.
Even though Sam Flanders is a top 11 pick, he was picked 11th. Like that's
Yeah.
a very high pick, and it felt like.
Didn't mean to cut you off, mate, but I
Sorry,
guess
yeah.
those two, the 1 and 2, that's the story, and that's where all the media is going to be focused. That's the reality. Unlucky Sammy, but still.
How
Sam
much
Flanders,
game time do you reckon these boys will be getting?
Oh,
Lots.
max minutes.
Yeah.
More than if they were down south.
Exactly. The weight of the franchise is on these teams, on their shoulders, on these players. But at the end of the day, again, if they don't blow the field away this year, not the end of the world. In 12 months, if we're saying the same thing, I think we're kidding ourselves in a way. So it's big 2020 ahead.
Yeah, and Noah Anderson projects leadership. He was crucial in that Vic Metro side. Let's talk about the players themselves and their skill sets, especially at that under-18 carnival. I believe Matt Rowell topped the possessions. He had 99 total disposals with a 75% efficiency. Kicked 3 goals, 2 behind, so not great. But, his tackles were up there with 6. Contested possessions, he was great, and uncontested, he was great.
And you were saying
that was his average.
His club form.
Yeah.
Off air, you were saying his club form's ridiculous. It's unbelievable.
Well, it has to be to get drafted number 1, mate.
Yeah.
Exactly. And those were his averages. So he averaged 6 tackles a game, which is huge. Averaged 12 contested possessions, so massive averages. There were only 4 games in the under-18 carnival, but he still showed really, really good promise there. He's been the consensus number 1 pick. Same with Noah Anderson being the consensus 2. He was really high on the disposals as well. Not as great with the ball. He's not a great user. Kicked less goals too, but his contested possessions were great as well. Less tackler. Obviously not as good as Matt, but he'll be really good. They went to the same high school too. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, he's a bit small, and I'm saying this from being 5'7".
Yes.
But he's probably 5'9". What's 178 centimeters?
178. Yeah, 5'9" ish. Yeah.
Is that too small to be a leading player in the AFL?
I guess think so.
Gary Ablett, similar player in a way, I guess, and
Exactly.
maybe they're trying to replace him. 3-4 years? 3 years after the
They'd
after
be
the
over the
fact.
moon if that's what they got.
Oh, yeah.
They will, but in a way, that's what they're expecting.
I guess, yeah.
Or it's
You should.
what they want.
You should with the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You really should.
But you've seen some duds.
You have.
Number 1 picks all around the world in
Yep.
drafts. Hopefully, he's not another one for the Suns' sake. 'Cause,
Hopefully not.
again,
They do get that bigger body midfielder, though, with Noah Anderson. So you got to have a bit of a balance. So he's 188 centimetres. So what's that? Nearly 6 foot?
too tall for me, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of big bodies, what about Luke Jackson
Yes.
for Melbourne?
Yes, nice segue too. I hated this pick, personally. We were all watching the draft together. I was not a fan of this pick at all.
Well, you're not a fan of it, mate, but it was generally, again, the consensus
Consensus
that
number
he
3
was
pick.
going to go number 3, but it doesn't actually make sense, and you can explain this further, Campbell. But
yeah.
when you weigh up want versus need,
Yes.
what did Melbourne need, and what did they get?
Yeah. So Luke Jackson is a ruckman from East Fremantle. I feel like the AFL still don't fully, and I know they obviously are getting paid a lot more than myself to do this, but I feel like they still don't have a grip on value, especially in the draft. You're Melbourne, you've got Max Gawn, who's a 27-year-old ruckman, one of the best ruckmen in... We were talking about him for... Did he get All-Australian? I think it was the one that kind of missed out, but probably should have. Or maybe he did make it. I don't know. But he's in that conversation for All-Australian ruckman, up there with Brodie Grundy. Why are you drafting a ruckman at number 3? What I think they are doing is planning to play him up front as a full forward, but again, he's too skinny. Ruckmen usually are obviously taller and skinnier and take time to develop, and full forwards need to be a bit heavier.
Well, that's the thing about some of these guys coming through, and not that we're any better,
No.
but they've got no muscle on them. Or
No.
Some of them don't.
Matt Rowell looked fairly
And
developed.
that's why he went number 1.
Exactly.
There's some more weight in some of these haircuts than they've got on their bodies.
Oh,
Yeah,
mate,
you
they
weren't a
are
fan of
shocking.
that.
They're
They are
shocking.
horrid.
But again,
Yeah.
we were speculating. We were going, okay, how old do we reckon Max Gawn is? And I think I said 31, you said 29 or something.
Yeah.
He's 27.
He's 27. That's his prime.
So it's not like they're bringing in Luke Jackson as, a prodigy or the bloke to replace Gawn when he retires in 2 years.
It's not even one of those. And as well as that, he's quite raw. Like, he's pretty much devoted. So he's a two-way player. He was at the 2018 Under-17 World Cup for basketball. Shone there, and then he went, you know what, I like footy a bit more, and decided, I'm going to play footy.
Do you think they drafted him just for the sake of drafting him?
Yes.
Do you think just because he's the best we've got there?
Yeah.
Well, now for the Demons, they're going to have to let one of them go in the foreseeable future, not in the next 12 months or even 24 months. But can they play both of them when Jackson just isn't, muscular enough to play full forward?
Well, the thing that doesn't make any sense to me is that, they go, okay, we're going to play him at full forward, or we're going to play Max Gawn at full forward, but which doesn't make any sense because you've got one of the best ruckmen, and the ruck is so important. He was good in his hit-outs. He was good as a ruckman. But if you're going, you know what, we're going to pick him up as a full forward, guess how many scores, and without looking at our stats, how many scores do you think he made at the Under-18 Carnival, playing all 4 games?
Who's this?
Luke Jackson.
Listen,
no
mate,
idea.
come
I
on.
thought he was talking about Max Gawn.
If you're not going to listen, the people listening aren't. Well, not listening. I'm going to say 2 goals.
I'll say 4.
Got a donut, boys.
Donut.
Got a donut, and
Should've
you're drafting him to play up front.
Should have stick to basketball.
Yeah, which he may have played better at school and stuff like that in terms of goal kicking, but come on, you can't draft someone based on, we think he can become this. Draft on what they are at that point, and I don't know, I really don't like this pick at all. I feel like they should have traded out of it if they could.
Exactly.
For that value, you go, hey, GWS, you've got the 10th pick. We'll take that off your hands. You can have 2 back-to-back here, and we'll also take one of your later ones. I think they had quite an early one in the second round or a late first round. You go that to move up a few spots. I'd take that. You get 2 players for better value. They had a pick at 13 or something, or 12. No, Kazaya Pickett. Yeah, so they had that pick already. They pick up 3 players in the first round instead of 2, and maybe someone they need a bit more.
It's being smarter with your strategy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they weren't necessarily doing that. Because, again, they've now drafted someone for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Because he was the 3rd best player in the draft. But that's not what the draft is about. Even if he's head and shoulders, literally, above everyone else in the draft, he's not who you need.
No.
Yeah.
You're not drafting a bloke 3rd overall as injury cover either.
No, exactly. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Either way, we'll move on again because we've got to make some time up. Lockie Ash, medium defender off halfback for the GWS Giants. Seemingly Heath Shaw's replacement. I like this pick, actually.
Quick bloke.
He's very quick.
Well, feel sorry for Heath Shaw. He was in the draft room.
He was. I think he's coaching gig. I think that's pretty obvious, and we'll see that. That he's got a mentor off him, and he won't play probably immediately. Maybe he'll play on the other halfback flank, but I think that's really important. I think that's a good time to pick someone to replace one of your kind of club legends and really one of the leaders there.
Well, is that a common thing in AFL football where you have draftees come in and almost sit out a year? Because the sports we're more familiar with, I guess, American sports.
With draft systems.
With draft systems, yeah. I guess some players are expected to sit out a year, whereas some players aren't. But I guess generally, if you look at this list, most of us sitting out for a season.
Most do. Because, again, as you brought up, they need to put on a bit of weight, a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them do need to bulk up a little bit. And some of them you'll see that, some you won't. We've seen good rookie seasons in the past. Bailey Smith this year had a good season. Who won? Oh, who's Carlton? What's his name? Sam Walker? Is that his name?
That's correct.
Yeah. He's had an outstanding season. He won Rookie of the Year or NAB Rising Star.
That's the thing, mate. That's a good number 1 pick, and that can't go forever. That can't last forever. No. Where every number 1 pick is a steal.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Matthew, what's his name? Rowell. I look at him and I go, look, you look good on paper, but not everyone's a great first overall pick.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, maybe there's just a general skepticism when it comes to any of these first overall picks.
Yeah, there may be.
There's, Metro AFL and that, very different to the top
AFL.
The big boys.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it goes, and Lockie Ash will be good off that halfback.
I mean, you'll be able to see plenty of Matthew Rowell next year, and you'll be able to make up your mind.
Well, yeah, even if he's a flop for the first half of the season, they'll play the hell out of him.
Understandable.
Oh yeah, he'll get minutes. That's the good thing.
Can't just slot him to the AFL straight away.
No, you can't, especially in that side. That's a tough side to do anything in.
It's not going to be helped out by much.
Well, can they survive the curse? That's something I don't think we covered.
I think they've been building over the past few years. They got Ben King there, who's had a promising season. They don't have any depth. It's the issue. They're sucked in the kneeful. Like they just don't have any depth, and coaching's an issue there, and there's so many issues there. No one goes to Metricon. Anyway, move on to Sydney Swans.
Well,
they seemingly... Sorry, yes?
Well, I was just going to say, they did recruit Brandon Ellis.
Yes, they did. So a bit of experience.
That's a bit of experience. More senior player.
Maybe that's what they need.
A dual premiership player.
Yeah.
Who can go, hey boys, I'm here because I want to be here.
Yeah.
Let's all band together and let's do something special that no one's expecting us to do.
Yeah, yeah. And you see newer clubs do this. I mean, they initially recruited Campbell Brown, Gold Coast Suns, when he was still playing from Hawthorn. They just weren't ready for it at that stage. I mean, GWS have obviously recruited Heath Shaw. He's a legend. The whole Shaw family are a legend. A legend.
Blunt object.
And, they also had Stevie J there for a time. They had a few older players there.
The Suns?
No, Giants.
Oh, you're talking about Giants? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think Brandon Ellis will make a difference there as well. We'll move on to Sydney. Dylan Stevens, seemingly I was saying Josh Kennedy's replacement, and then who walked out with the jersey, giving him the jersey?
Mate,
Josh
the
Kennedy.
Poor sod himself. Yeah. Unlucky.
Yeah, you just go, oh, you're my replacement.
I'm here for your job.
I'm here for your job, mate. But it was I think it was a good pick. Do
you reckon he was reluctant to walk out?
Who? Josh Kennedy?
Yeah, was he reluctant to walk out and hand over the jersey?
He knows this young guy's not going to take his pick. They got a good midfield though, yeah.
Well, I think that's just a case of replacing.
What happens.
Yeah.
It's what happens.
It's a replacement.
It's quite weird looking at Sydney, though, coming into this draft, because 12 months ago, very different.
Very different.
Now, when we were sitting down at your place watching it, we were going, they could take anything.
Yes, 100%.
Even, a forward to provide cover to Buddy.
Yep.
Buddy, a bloke who, he's on the big bucks, that 10-year contract, but...
Doing a whole lot of nothing.
The bloke, he can't stay out of hospital, can he?
No,
he's very injury prone.
He certainly is. I think he likes the Sydney lifestyle, though. But I like this pick a lot, good with the good boot, good when tackle, good and contested. I think it's the right pick for them, especially if they want to replace Josh Kennedy. He'll be good. He's a good size as well, not too big, not too small. It'll be interesting to see how he goes. Hopefully he does well. I'm sure Sydney usually don't have any problems with developing players for the most part.
And he's the first South Australian to be picked up in that draft as well.
He was,
and there was a few of them that night as well.
There were a few Western Australians as well, obviously, because they were one of the dominant sides at the under-18s carnival as well.
Where are the Queenslanders, though? I mean, we'll talk about that.
I think the first one was at 20. Who was the first one?
I think it was about 22.
Caden Coleman?
Mate, we all did maths.
It was 22.
Anyway,
we all did maths, eh?
Can't count.
It's a big number.
Exactly. Next pick was from South Australia, Adelaide Crows. He wasn't from South Australia, from Victoria, but Adelaide Crows. Fisher McCasey. I wonder if a part
of Dylan was a bit gutted. Because Dylan, the number 5th pick.
Oh, yes.
Being a South Australian boy, not to go to the Crows.
Yeah, I did hear that.
I don't know where his allegiance lies. I don't know if he's a Crow fan or a Port fan.
Yeah.
But part of you would like to stay at home, wouldn't you?
I think that's everyone, though.
Yeah.
I think you can't expect to stay.
You can't, but it's so close.
Yeah. I think there was something about how his allegiances lied with Richmond or Carlton? Carlton.
Even as a South Australian.
Yeah, which is not uncommon.
Well, I think he's just thankful he's not going to the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I think that most of these guys are, but hopefully they can turn around, fingers crossed. Anyway, Fisher McCasey, tall defender, bit of a utility man though. Very interesting pick. Not too bad. It's a bit of a, I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's one of those picks which can go either way.
Yeah.
Again, there's, just like the first overall pick, every draft, there's always guys who look like locks. Yep. Who just tend to falter when they get to that level. So, could that be Fisher? What a name, Fisher.
Fisher.
It is a very nice name.
I think he won Vic Metro's MVP at the under-18s as well. So
he knows his way around a park.
Not too bad. Yeah, exactly. He's not too bad. He could really play anywhere. I mean, again, I think we were saying Adelaide, maybe try to replace Tex.
Well, is Tex going to be there?
Exactly. It's a tough. They really could have taken whoever they wanted.
Because the trade period's over, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Tex, he has to stay there.
Yeah.
For at least the next season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how about this? Fremantle with 3 picks in a row inside the top 10.
See, I think this is great value. Yeah. This is great value. And didn't they trade up for
I think they traded for 2 of them.
It was Carlton, and then they got knocked back, didn't they? Because
a couple times.
Because it was academy players.
Yeah, and Fremantle
matched the bid.
Yeah. But still, that's massive for the Dockers, man. Yeah. That's massive.
I think they had 2 picks, and then they matched a bid for one of them. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
At least that's what it looks like anyway. But with their first one, they took Hayden Young, which I'm surprised he slipped this much. He was expected to go a little bit earlier from that 3 to 10 range. So did slip a few places, but I mean...
Dockers aren't complaining.
Pretty good. Yeah, no. Exactly. Pretty good place to end up. Kind of medium defender, 188 centimetres. So pretty good height there. He's good user of the ball with 79% efficiency, and with his hands 91. So he's pretty good, you know. Obviously, he's not going to do anything going forward. His tackles, I think he's more of an intercept marker, honestly. But, you know, we'll see. He's good with the uncontested possessions of 13. So he kind of intercepts them and kind of, I guess, intercepts them. Does a good job there.
Great point.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. Next one, best name. Oh, maybe Fisher's the best, but Caleb Sarong.
I love this one.
Caleb Sarong. What a name from the Gippsland Power Vic Country team. Pretty good pick here, you know.
They've picked a few smaller midfielders.
Yeah, they have,
bit of pace.
They've also picked a few players that have potentially slid a little bit. Again, anywhere from 3 to 12. He was a bit of a schmokey to be a bit of an earlier pick. He averaged 23.5 disposals, 5.5 marks, 5.2 clearances, and 8.5 tackles in Vic Country's win. So he did very well in the under-18s comp. I'm surprised he didn't go earlier, actually. His under-18 carnival, at least, is shown a lot more than probably other players that have been picked before him. But again, it could just be a fit, you know. He's 178, so another one of those kind of Matt Rowell size kind of guys.
Mate, what I'd give to be that tall.
I wish. So yeah, kind of one of those smaller midfielders. Could play on the half-forward flank, maybe even on the half-back flank. Who knows? But it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. And this is a pick I really liked. Liam Henry. Parents were in tears a little bit
pretty
about
emotional.
This one.
Mate, that was pretty cool, though.
It was very cool to see.
Because with everyone before him and a lot of people after him, it was the stand up, hug mum, shake dad's hand, good on your son, walk up to the stage, get your Guernsey.
Yep.
But this was cool. This was real emotion. A bloke who's clearly worked very hard to get to where he is now. And yeah, I think that's great.
I love it as well. I really like the fact that they picked up 3 picks here. I like that he's staying home. He's from Claremont. He's he's academy player from Fremantle. It was Carlton's pick, but Freo matched the bid. Can't remember what they got from it, but they did a good job there to get that. Ending the draft off, I wanted him to come to the Dog, by the way. Ending the draft off, or first 10, we got GWS. They picked up Tom Green. This was Carlton's pick that slid down again. It was because Tom Green is a GWS Academy player.
Yep.
I didn't love this one overly. If I'm honest, it was a bit of an okay pick. It was, again, a bit of a meh.
I think they just decided to get another midfielder.
Yeah.
Just bolstering it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
obviously
talent. Their plan.
It was keep your talent at that point, and he's their top... he's one of the best Allies players of last year, so good pick from them. Let's move on to Queensland, because, you know, we are in Queensland, so we should probably talk a little bit about Queensland. Obviously, Sam Flanders is a talking point as well. The other guy, he was a really good pick. He was picked 11, and he'll be good to see at the Gold Coast. Cody Waitman, shout out, Dogs pick. But anyway, let's move on to Queensland.
Mate, you called it. I'll give you that.
I did call it.
You did call
it. Some call me Nostradamus.
Mate, you should be working for the Dogs.
Oh, mate.
One day.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about this in the first night of the AFL draft, how there were no Queenslanders picked. And it took until number 37 before the Brisbane Lions matched Essendon's bid for Keaton Coleman. Boys, what are your thoughts about this one? This grab for the Brisbane Lions.
Again, I think it was keep your talent. He's been really good he's been playing a little bit for the NEAFL, and he especially played in that NEAFL grand final when the Brisbane Lions were told that they'd have to, drop a few players. It was a bit of a reach from them. But, if he's you've been developing him for years now, you don't really want to let him go. He's a medium forward. They need that kind of player. I like it.
Well, if you're talking about players who the Lions have got to hang on to, then what happened with the next two, mate? What went wrong?
This was when Richmond were really trying to...
This was 2 picks in a row.
It was.
Two picks in a row.
Clearly, Richmond's game plan was just cherry picking from other clubs.
I don't think it was. I just think you look at the Lions last year and how strong their knee full side was. You'd almost be silly not to go for some of their academy players.
Yeah.
That being said, the Richmond VFL side's pretty damn good on its own.
Yeah.
So,
well, I just wonder then why aren't there any more Queensland talent further in the draft? So maybe in the top.
Because we're not that great.
We're not that great?
Not that great.
Is that a worrying thing? Should we be trying to push for more players in that top sort of 20?
No, look, it
we
would
saw
be
3 players.
It would be if there was like a state of origin or something like that. But because there isn't, and because there's a draft, we don't really need Queenslanders playing for the Lions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You'd like to see it.
It's always nice. You like to see it, but it's not a necessity. So
they only picked up one in this draft, didn't they? Was he the only one? Keaton Coleman.
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
The rest were like Western Australians and Vics and stuff.
Oh no, there were 2 more. The 2 more Lions
they were drafted. Yeah. But for the Lions.
Yeah.
But we saw Noah Cumberland and Will Martin.
Seriously, get a haircut, lads.
It's shocking.
I'm going to be biased.
It is seriously shocking.
They are, they do need it. I wouldn't want to be running around on the footy pitch with that's for sure.
It's like carrying an extra kilo.
And that's just something for people to grab onto and just
yank you back. Will Martin from Aspley, which is quite interesting, and the Hornets, right? Hornets, yeah, and Noah Cumberland there from the Maroochydore.
Look, honestly, I wouldn't mind getting picked up by Richmond. To go to that club after what they've achieved in the last few years. Although they're not going to be getting a lot of game time, but they'll be learning a lot.
Win a VFL premiership.
To be honest, mate, with your ability, I think you should take anything you can get.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, if you ever got to that situation, and don't set your sights on Richmond.
Yeah,
bit of a voice break there.
I hope it means I'm growing.
I don't know about that. We can dream.
We can dream, mate. So don't take that away from me.
No, exactly.
What I quite liked was Trent Bianco. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
Bianco,
I thought this was pretty cool. The AFL, I think they had him projected as 25th overall, and he slid and he slid and he slid some more. Campbell
Didn't stop sliding.
No, he didn't until I think it was about the 45th pick.
Yep.
His team, his boyhood club, the Pies picked him up. I really like this.
Yep.
I like players working hard, getting to the top level, and then donning their boyhood colours. It's pretty cool.
Yep. Could see future captain there.
Oh, well,
if he performs,
let him get through pre-season first, mate, and then we can talk about the C next to his name.
But you just love seeing that,
Yeah, you do.
You could see him playing there his whole career, if he performs.
If he's good enough, again.
If he's good enough.
Get through pre-season, then we'll reassess.
No, let's talk about retirement while we're here. Who did the Brisbane Lions pick up, boys? Since we are in Vegas, Brisneyland, as Finn likes to call it.
I want to get that trending. I like Brisneyland.
It would be great. I don't know how Brisbane did in this draft. Lots of late picks. I don't know why. Did they trade up a lot last year? What? Why are they?
I don't know.
Are they content with their team?
Look, should they be?
It's a young team. So are they counting on that team from last season coming of age almost, or certainly improving?
I think they got the talent there.
Tough.
I think they got the talent there, so I don't know how crucial this draft was for them.
I actually
but they were quite active.
I kind of disagree, mate. I actually think the Lions, they're in for a bit of a shock next year.
Yeah, I think they are too.
A reality check.
I think this was a lucky season almost.
Because nobody expected them to get to where they got to.
Yeah. And you don't want that.
And they flew under the radar until the second last regular season of the season.
Yeah.
Second last regular game of the season. Regular season of the season. No, no, but you get what I mean. They well under the radar, and then they almost they didn't get lucky.
No.
But
But you don't want to rest on your laurels with a young team when you didn't have many injuries, when they did not have any injuries that whole time. Very fit, obviously, but you just don't want to not a fluky season, but they weren't convincing in a lot of games, and they weren't dominant.
And another thing too is the injury factor.
Yes.
Next to none last season.
I just brought that up.
That always helps.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens when I zone out.
Yeah,
mate.
when you
But
zone out.
No, you know what I mean. Like that's
Yeah.
huge.
That's actually massive for
When
them.
we were speaking to Connor
Yes.
a few weeks ago, he said exactly that.
Yep.
That's why the Neefle side was so great because not many of those boys were having
game in.
not many of those boys were having to go up and play at the big time.
Yep.
That being said, I mean, I don't think Colin would have minded, but
Oh,
well, that's 2020.
few injuries. Do a Tonya Harding and just go, bang. Yeah, but the other players, they obviously took Noah Cumberland, Will Martin. Good to see. Oh, no, wait, they're the Queenslanders. Who else was picked by them? Who did they pick up?
The Lions,
Yeah, who else did they pick up?
Devin Robertson,
Brock Smith,
Keaton Coleman, and
Yep.
Jackson Pryor.
That's the one. Yeah, awesome. He kicked the winning goal in the in one of the WA games. Came down to the wire after the hooter. Banging. Anyway, guys, we're going to do quickly before we get out of here
Where are we going?
to do the rest of the podcast. Who do you guys... Finn, we'll start with you. Who do you think won the draft this year?
Optimistically, I'll say the Suns.
The Suns.
Yeah, I think I want them to.
Yeah.
And that's why I'll say the Suns, just because if it doesn't work, yeah, they're in for some strife.
Yep.
The Tasmania Suns.
The Tasmania Suns. Oh, I
Make
would
it
love
happen.
Just
Make it
rolls
happen.
off the tongue.
That. Who do we know?
Bev
who
will
would
be
love
happy.
that? Bevy.
Woohoo. No, it's
Jacob.
optimistic. Optimistically, I'll say the Suns. I think
Yeah.
two pretty standard first two picks
Yeah.
expected, and then a good pick at 11 too. So it's plenty of youth, but hopefully youth wins the day. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Gussie,
Well, I went with the GWS Giants. Now,
you
yeah,
Sure.
You beauty.
Finn's team. They were disappointing in the grand final. Let's not take that away because they were shocking.
They were
But
terrible.
They've definitely laid a platform, and they've got they've made two decent picks. I like Lachlan Ash. I agree with you, Campbell. I'm not so sure about the other one, but yeah, Lachlan Ash, Tom Green, both decent midfielders, good first round picks, and I think it'll help to bolster that already decent midfield. And you could really tell on grand final day they were beaten up in the midfield, so they need something to change there. And I think this is the way to go.
Certainly.
Finish it off, Skip.
Okay. So I've got kind of two picks for this. I'm going to say Freo.
We just said one.
Okay,
that was
well,
the
I'm gonna-
agreement.
Okay.
Campbell.
Honourable mention. So, firstly, who I think. Freo, they had obviously 3 picks in the top 10. I think they picked well with them. My only criticism of their draft is that they missed out on that kind of mid-range talent. Sorry. They went 7, 8, 9. You know what? We're not going to pick till 61. So they only had 4 players. 3 of them were in the top 10. So you're not going to complain there. They should get some game
They went
time.
out for Smoko in
But-
between.
They're another club, mate, who, if they don't get it right with 3 picks inside the first 10,
Mm-hmm.
what happened?
I think the players are the right picks, though. I think.
Yeah, and
I
I
think they've done very well.
They've
there.
got well-established players at the
Around
Dockers,
them.
unlike
Yeah.
the Suns.
I think they just had a poor season. But almost the antithesis of this is, I know, mate. Calm down.
Have you been
What is
reading?
it?
What was that word?
I know. He hasn't been reading,
I've
obviously.
never even heard that word in my life.
It doesn't surprise me. Was Port Adelaide. They're my honourable mention. They had picks 14, 18, 23, and 25.
Mate, the golden ticket.
Well
which I think
spaced.
just very good kind of early, mid-range kind of picks. They drafted well with them with Miles Bergman, Mitch Georgiadis, Dylan Williams, and Jackson Mead, the father-son pick. I'd love to see a father-son pick. Who doesn't? They're the best. Anyway, guys, are we going to do who lost the draft? Who do you think lost the draft, Finn?
Let's make it quick.
Who do I think lost the draft? Through a lack of picks, I think a team like West Coast,
Yep.
someone like that. I think you could argue a team like St Kilda.
Yep.
But that being said, I think St Kilda almost were okay not drafting
Really?
because of their trade period.
Yeah.
I think they set the standard at the trade period, so they could almost be okay. That being said, just because you have Billy Slater and Jared Roughhead and your coaching staff,
Billy Slater. That's
it's not-
boils my blood.
What do you mean? That's great.
it's not going to deliver you a flag. So I think they they could have used some picks, but at the end of the day, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to agree with West Coast. They didn't have a pick until number 49. So they went first round and most of the second round without even, getting on the board there. Callum Jameson, I don't know anything about him. But yeah, they weren't very active, West Coast. I was also just going to mention Melbourne. And I don't know, people would disagree with this, but not so much as they had a bad draft. It's just I feel like they wasted their picks.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Look, they've got very good players, and they've done a lot better than most teams, but have they wasted it?
Yeah, I agree. I think they've had probably some of the best value, like in terms of where their picks sat. But yeah, again, I just feel like they did not make the most of that. They could have done much better with what they had. I agree with all of those. Probably, if I were to add another one, I'd probably say Essendon. Their earliest pick was 30, 38, 56, 63. So spread out.
Just nothing.
But just in not great areas.
How dangerous is it for those sides? So Essendon, who did I say? St Kilda. That's right. Those two teams who are very much in the balance almost.
Yeah.
Could possibly break into the 8. They're a bit of a smoky.
Yeah, but I feel like they were a smoky because they fluked a lot of games and lost their percentage. They would have had I think their percentage was 87.
Essendon especially, they were dreadful.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Exactly. So, but for them not to draft or not draft high, how dangerous is that?
I mean, they've got McDonald, Tip and Woody playing footy, so you can't really go wrong with that.
Him versus everyone else. And
He's
he'd
so good.
still win.
Clutch. Done. And that was our AFL draft recap. What do you guys think of it, boys? Do you reckon we recapped it well?
Not really, but it's over.
We gave it a shot.
What do you mean? I thought we were brilliant. My
constant... did a good job.
No, it's cool. It's cool that AFL's pretty much back in season now. Or there's more to talk about. Teams heading into pre-season now, well and truly. So it's before you know it, first bounce of the season.
Exciting to see.
It's almost a year-round sport, isn't it? They don't give them much break.
Exactly. So that's why. But that's because that's the beauty of the draft, mate.
Yeah.
And that's why we'll
keeps people interested.
Let's talk about it now.
Exactly. That's what we'll talk about it. Guzzy, I'll propose it to you, mate. NRL draft. Or not even just NRL. Let's think Super Rugby.
A-League.
Let's think bigger. Bigger, stronger, wider. A-League. Super Rugby. NRL. ABL. NBL. You name it, we want it. Draft. Guzzy, do we need it? Go.
Look, I actually don't mind the idea. I think drafts are interesting. They keep fans well interested. We were watching the whole draft pretty much. Maybe swapped over for the in-betweeners here and there, but we watched
a good show though.
It is a cracking show.
Definitely worth a mention.
But I'd love to see it at the NRL. It's a great way to get young talent to different clubs, and it ensures that sides like the Broncos or the Roosters aren't quite so dominant.
Yeah, and would you rather go... Well, it's competitive balance.
Yeah.
And would you rather being people going, I've heard North Queensland have a really good fullback called Kalen Ponga. He's really good. Or would you rather be like, who's going to get Kalen Ponga? He's coming out of school this year. Who's getting him?
I think option B, but don't do that voice ever again.
Yeah, I won't. That was my kind of league. That was my leaguey accent, mate.
Yeah, because at the moment in the state of league and most other sports, it's kind of like whoever pays most gets him.
Pretty much.
Can
you pay his schooling?
Yeah.
Basically. No, but I think sport in the Southern Hemisphere or Australia and New Zealand, historically it's you play for where you're from.
Yeah.
It's like playing international, regional.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You play for where you're from. Traditionally, yeah. So the draft takes that away.
But we've also seen a shift in that where it's, you're from, and understandably, you're from Brisbane, you're from here. Would you like to come to North Queensland? Would you like to come down to Melbourne? We'll pay your schooling.
So is loyalty
you can
dead?
Play it. I think it is with the money that league has, so especially in league.
It's dead to the point where we could see drafts come in and not really give a fuss. Because as a Western Bulldogs fan, do you really care who plays for your team? As long as they do that jumper justice.
Yeah, I think so. And where you like to see players drafted from the local area, because that still happens. What you get is you get father-sons. Father-sons is that a version. It's even better. You get academy versions, and the father-sons, I think, is even better than having those, he grew up. It's both the same. They both obviously grew up in the same area, but you see those Liberatores come through and the Mitch Wallaces and there's others. There's tons of others.
I think also a problem with the NRL having a draft, there's only really a few clubs that get this talent. They're the only ones that really... kind
of stockpile it a little bit.
Yeah, so a lot of the sides in Western Sydney, so you got the Penrith, you got your Parramatta, they've got a lot of the junior, really good junior programs, plenty of talent coming through. And
see how we didn't mention the Roosters?
Yeah, because this is the next part. The Roosters go ahead and buy them all. That's the thing.
What's salary cap? That was terrible, mate.
Thank you. That was my sombrero impression.
They buy
Just
him.
an episode of impressions.
Your impression of a hat.
Yes.
So the thing with the Roosters, they buy them when they're 16 on contracts of $50,000 a year instead of paying $900,000 or $950,000 for Ash Taylor.
So that means Cooper Cronk's 18 now.
Wow.
Is that what you're saying?
No.
No.
What club's he at
You
now?
can pay.
He's retired,
you can
mate.
pay.
I know, but didn't we say he was going to an AFL club or something like that?
No, Billy
Yes.
Slater.
No,
Billy Slater?
no. Cooper
No,
Cronk.
he went to a
Cooper
side.
Cronk.
Oh,
GWS.
GWS. Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's weird as well.
it's a bit confusing, especially because I love NFL.
Yeah.
So I sit down and I watch that draft, and to me that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to get my head around these academy picks and these father-son picks.
I feel like watching it last night, though, made it make a bit more sense. Rather where before, like if someone tries to explain it to you, you're like, what?
But the thing I like about those aspects is that is a way to include loyalty in a draft which is against loyalty in a way, isn't it? You know,
It's got, we want you. We developed the talent. We want to keep it.
Well, speaking of a great talent in the world of rugby league, we've got Latrell Mitchell. There's been a lot of conjecture about where he's going in his NRL career. Really talented centre, played for the Sydney Roosters now. He's come through their ranks, bought him at the age of 16. Now, he's had offers from teams like the West Tigers, Cowboys, and a few have pulled out. Now, it's looking as though the Gold Coast Titans are the front runners to sign Latrell Mitchell. What are your thoughts about that, boys? Do you reckon he can turn that club around?
I don't know.
Well,
I
do
don't
we
think
really
he's the
care
right
at this
character.
stage?
Do you think he's the right character?
That's the thing. I think it's a bit sad to see an athlete so young, so money-driven.
Spitting the dummy a little bit.
And it's, if I was in his situation, or if you guys were, you'd
I don't
probably
blame
do
him.
the same thing.
Yeah, I don't blame him. You got a limited career. Go make your money.
Chase the money.
Yeah.
And he's already won 2 premierships. Like
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
He's
Yeah.
played at the heights of the game. But going to the Gold Coast, I don't know. That's desperate.
That is, yes.
But
Career
Gussie,
suicide.
with the Tigers pulling out, his 2 options now are the Gold Coast and North Sydney.
Yeah, it's pretty much you play for the Titans or you play for a reserve grade side. And I think if I was him, I'd play for North Sydney. Just
Higher level of footy.
They're probably better.
Just in case people don't know, that's because Roosters coach Trent Robinson, a week or 2 ago, commented on the Latrell Mitchell saga, for a better word, and said that he's over it, and that if Latrell goes back to the Roosters next year where he's contracted, he'll play for their reserve team, which is the North Sydney Bears.
Yeah.
But
So it's not looking good for Latrell. I feel like at this stage he's going to the Titans.
I think so.
And maybe he might bring a player like Cody Walker with him because he's on the outer at South Sydney. So maybe we see both of them going in, and there might be a complete culture shock in that side. You've got Mal Meninga, head of what's he head of culture and
performance.
Performance.
That is the big thing. Apparently, there are reports that Latrell's going to the GC in the next couple of days to meet with the Titans and meet with Mal, because Mal has said, "Look, I'm the Australian coach. Latrell, come to me.
Yeah,
go on, come son.
Yeah,
and then I'll help you develop. I'll help you on and off the field, and I'll make you great."
Do you trust Latrell at the Gold Coast?
Do you trust Mal?
Well, I
saw him in a Chocolatieri Sanchuro once, so...
Well, they've got the...
Yes.
Let's not forget, they've also got the new coach coming in, Holbrook, from
he's very
the
successful.
Super League.
He just won the Super League.
Yeah, he's won it with St Helens, I think.
St Helens, yeah.
And he'll be bringing that quality over. It's probably the best coach they've had for a long time. They had Neil Henry, he was rubbish. Cartwright, they're reserve grade coaches. They've got a good guy now. Let's see if he can help turn this club around. See if Latrell and Cody Walker can also do the same.
But again, the thing that's going to sway it, I think, is Mal.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
He's the Australian coach. That's it.
Let's see.
So I think this time next week, hopefully we're talking about Latrell signed with the Gold Coast. What's this going to mean? Latrell's staying with the Roosters. What's this going to mean? Because it's a bit silly seeing this in the media every day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm getting sick of it.
Pick and stick, mate. Pick and stick.
I'm getting sick of greedy leagueies. Anyway, we attended the WBBL game the other day between the ladder leading Brisbane Heat and Melbourne Renegades. Gussie, what an atmosphere.
Oh, it was great.
It was great.
This is probably one of the best games I've been to. Just like atmosphere-wise, it was a day out.
It was.
It's exactly what they describe it as. Allan Border Field, it was beautiful. The
It's a
day
bit
was
overcast,
beautiful.
but it was good.
Was it even
Yeah,
better?
cool.
Was it even better the second day?
Yeah, no, it cooled down. The second day was really nice.
First day was hot and there were
Yeah.
no seats and it was just
Yeah,
Well,
that was for the Marsh Cup.
Yeah. Which
we
we'll-
all ended up burnt. Not great.
Still
It's
bad.
not surprising.
But we'll talk about the Marsh Cup. But
slap, slop, slap.
this
Wear hats.
this WBBL game, it saw the ladder leading heat take on the Melbourne Renegades, and we were in for a bit of a shock here, boys. The Heat, they were cruising. Beth Mooney once again smacking the ball around, made another 80-odd, 90-odd. And they were set for a big total. And out of nowhere, everything just stopped. Few wickets to the Renegades. They limited the Heat to 184, mainly thanks to Danny Wyatt, who was brilliant with the bat and the ball. But so the Heat limited to 184, 183
Danny Wyatt
in their
took
first
2.
innings. Yeah,
Yeah.
Danny Wyatt.
Beth Mooney put a good knock in, right?
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
Matty Green got a cheeky 20 too.
Yes. And it looked like a big ask for the Renegades. But as we mentioned, Danny Wyatt, brilliant performance. She scored 87 runs in Melbourne Renegades total, and they actually chased it down quite comfortably in the end. The ball was absolutely flying all over the wicket. One went towards us. We might have been on TV. I haven't actually checked. Should watch the highlights. We might have been on TV. Me and Campbell were just sitting in the lawn chairs.
We probably were.
Feet up on
We
the
should look at the
picket
feed because
fence. Yeah.
the ball definitely came our way multiple
Yeah,
times.
I almost caught it.
Was that in the first innings or second?
Second.
Because I watched the first innings on Facebook Live. That very useful tool.
Yes.
And I didn't see you guys once.
No, we moved closer to the fence because it became more overcast, and then we were like, you know what? Best seats in the
Get
house.
closer to the action.
Let's go. It was great.
Yeah. Well, after this result, of course, the Heat are still on top of the ladder. They still look like the team to beat. The Renegades is a big win for them. They move into 5th after this result. So they're still pushing on for finals. They've only got a few rounds left, I think.
Do you know how many games there are left?
I don't know the exact number of games, but I think
Not
every
many.
team plays about 15. And the Heat have played 13, so I think they got another 2 games, and the rest of the competition have 3.
Well, hopefully the Heat lock in that top spot because
Hopefully.
Home final.
Allan Border Field, home final. I doubt they'll take it to the Gabba,
No.
but it'd be great to go there for a final.
Oh, it'd be great. Allan Border Field, Albion. Can't go wrong. Crosby Park End.
Did they play it there last year?
I'm not sure. I think so.
They played it at a regional
I think they
field.
did.
I just don't know if it was Allan Border
I
or
believe
if
it.
or if it was in Sydney.
Regional. Albion. Regional.
Really cool regional. Anyway,
What do you mean to say, mate? Suburban?
Yeah.
Suburban.
Yeah. It was good to see Josie Dill. I thought she was going to get a bat.
Yeah, she just kept
I
getting
know.
moved down the
I
order.
don't know
I'm like,
why.
when's Josie coming out?
She was supposed to come in at 4,
Yeah.
and she didn't come on.
It's like Webb's in. Oh, God.
I mean, it's good to
when's
see
Josie
the
coming
bat, but I was like, come on, Josie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we also attended the Marsh Cup final.
The day before.
I was there for that one.
It was a
You
bad couple of days for Queensland cricket. We lost the Marsh Cup final. We lost the WBBL for the girls. So a few sad faces.
and we lost all that AFL talent.
Yeah, we did. God, it's not been a good one.
No.
And the Raw lost as well.
Yes, they
Oh,
did.
God, it's shocking.
We'll talk about that soon.
Yeah,
No,
we will.
Yeah, the Bulls, mate, gone for a 6-year, or trying to end a 6-year drought, and they just got outplayed from the get-go, didn't they?
Yeah.
They really did.
From about, I think, the end of the first over, you could kind of tell, hey,
Yeah.
this is going to go south.
Well, they were 5 for 56 at one point. And it takes a big effort to come back from that. Jimmy Pearson put up a great knock. 79 runs, got him to 205, which is still not a great total, but it was something to defend.
It was actually pretty competitive in the end. If they'd gotten Sean Marsh out,
Yeah.
very much that could have been enough.
Yeah.
But especially on that size of a ground, that's certainly not enough because it's quite a small ground, isn't it? It's very much compared to the Gabba too. The Gabba's massive compared to that.
Yeah, we seriously thought it would favour the batsmen way more, especially considering the wicket too.
Yeah, I don't think both sides batted very well.
No.
I feel like the wicket, the women both sides scored over 180 runs.
Great.
In 20 over match. So I'm a bit surprised the men didn't do
It was
as
a day
well.
for the bowlers.
Yeah.
I don't know, but one thing. Uzi Khawaja, what is he doing with the coin toss before the game? He just put it into orbit.
Yeah, he did.
Why did he do that?
That is pretty funny though.
Intimidation tactic.
Funny.
Funny.
Intimidation
Just
tactic.
funny.
Just
Dead set, mate.
can't see that spin.
He lost the toss as well. By the
Yeah,
way.
he lost it.
This is coming for your eye, mate. Just no. But I think
Lost the corn.
Yeah.
Where's it gone?
that's quite cool to see though, because that shows there's a bit of a not a relaxed attitude, but
Yeah.
almost a bit of an Aussie larrikin.
It's a game.
Or it's a game.
It's a game after all.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
league.
like league.
Well, you want me to respond to that because I think it's disgraceful. It's not a game. It's a sport. It's the most manly sport.
Well, we all know it's the most manly sport we know.
Well,
Wriggle around on the ground
Yeah,
to try and
tackle
get out
other
of
men.
tackles.
Yeah.
let's move on. Jump
In
onto
my
the
briefs.
the world's number one sport, but the world's far from the world's number one league, the A League,
Yeah.
What, the A?
the A League,
A plus league.
top league. Where's the B
Yeah.
League?
Where is it?
Where are you, FFA? Come on the Beyond the
Come
Sidelines
on the Beyond the
podcast.
Sidelines.
Tell me why there isn't a B League
I'm
already.
flabbergasted.
No,
Absolutely flabbergasted.
There's only one result that matters. Only one result that matters. The Brisbane Roar coming off a big 4-3 victory at home to a strong Melbourne City outfit. They were confident. They journeyed to Westpac Stadium, and the Phoenix got it done. They just couldn't overcome the onslaught. That is Wellington.
I'm sorry, how do you concede 2 goals against Wellington and still not even win?
Wellington, mate, they were just a class outfit. I watched that game. That was a...
Clean?
Sorry?
Squeaky clean?
Good game, mate.
Mm.
Good game.
Well, they take on the Mariners this week, so hopefully they face 2 Spooners in 2 games. Maybe they're the Spooners.
I actually really hope you beat the Mariners because we're still bottom of the pile.
Yeah.
We were second last.
It's their first win, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
It
Jeez.
is. We were bottom of the second last, but then the Mariners got an upset victory. Was it at home? I think it was at home.
They beat Western
at home to Western United. Now 2 losses in a row for that team.
Yeah.
Have you seen the clip of Bursart Barisha? He got subbed by
Yeah.
Mark Rodan.
Yeah.
Stared
Not
him
happy?
down, man.
He was
Not
not
happy.
Stared
happy.
him down.
I don't get sobbed.
No, it was actually it was quite funny.
Yeah, is that what Bessart sounds like?
I don't think that's what I imagine him sounding like. I've never spoken to the bloke, but I assume
Sub
that's
me?
You sub me? What the going
Okay,
on?
let's
Isn't
stop
he
now.
Ukrainian or something? I don't know.
Albanian.
His
Let's
eyes,
stop it.
his eyes
Albanian.
certainly said something like that. But no, it was quite funny, wasn't it? It was his eyes really
Yeah,
wide,
He was not happy.
really wide.
Mm.
Deep breaths,
Yeah, not
and
happy.
it did not shake Rodan's hand. No, but
No.
that's not worrying signs for Western United. I think we said this last week that new teams, they go through these phases, and especially in a comp like the A-League where the season is so long, you can get away with losing a couple.
Yeah.
You really can.
Some
And
growing pains.
growing pains, and they're still very much in the fight.
Look, I got to say, the more worrying sign is Melbourne victory. They lost another game, guys. Now they sit at second last on the ladder now.
Oh.
They're only 1 point ahead
Yep.
of the Phoenix, which
Yep.
is pretty poor.
They lost this time to Adelaide United 3-1.
They've been quite good, though.
Yeah, Adelaide have been
Adelaide
good.
been quite good.
They won the FFA Cup, of course, and this season so far, they got off to a reasonably slow start, but I think they're top 4 now.
Yeah, they are.
And really, this victory side needs to start performing.
The coach
I
has
think-
been sacked.
Yeah.
Kevin Muscat got sacked.
No,
Did he?
Muscat's not there anymore.
Oh, I'm back in the dark ages.
I couldn't tell you his
Wait,
name either.
who's in there now?
I don't know. just
No one.
The bloke
No,
got sacked.
who was in there?
A bloke with a big name, foreign name.
Long now.
I can't remember.
No, I couldn't tell you. No, it's again, it's worrying for the victory.
Yeah. Riley McGree, again, playing out of his skin this season.
Good player.
Oh.
Why
How many
is
goals he on? Like 9 from 4 games or something?
why isn't that bloke in Europe?
I think next year, Scotland. I see it.
That's a shout.
Wasn't that Scorpion?
Celtic are going to pick him up.
Go on.
Wasn't that
Go
Scorpion
on.
kick enough?
QPR.
I'm actually.
Oh.
That's another debate, mate. Why he didn't win goal of the year?
Exactly.
No, but very concerning for the victory.
Yeah.
Every week I'm expecting them to turn it around, and
Mm.
I still think when they do, they'll really turn it around, like dramatically, significantly so.
Yeah.
Where they'll just switch it on and they'll become that victory side that we all know and hate.
Yeah.
Love.
Hate, mate.
No, I hate them. Anyway, well, the other Melbourne side, Melbourne City, defeated Western Sydney Wanderers 3-2. Jamie McLaren just banging
he's
them in
on
again.
fire.
Riley McGree, just outstanding. They're top of the table, City, and they deserve to be there. Following them in second place is Sydney FC. Now, they're kind of, lurking in the shadows a little bit, ready to jump into first place there. They won that grand final rematch against Perth Glory at NIB Stadium, 3-1.
Weird disallowed goal.
Yeah, it was a strange
Weird
game, that one.
disallowed goal. It was an absolute screamer too.
Yeah,
like,
surely you just
Fornaroli.
let that in because it's a good goal.
Yeah, you go.
For the better,
Just give
for
it
the
to
good
him,
of the
mate.
game. For the good of the game, just let that one stand.
Bruno Fornaroli as well, which he's just a weird character.
Did you say this? Our quickest player to 50 goals
Is he?
in the A-League, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Or
You learn
youngest.
something new every
One
day.
of the two.
Either way, he was just a weird character. He got very excited.
Do you remember? Yeah,
He screams.
Yeah,
He's
he
very,
gives it.
yeah, he's very South American, isn't he? He's very different to our sporting culture, but it's cool to see. It's refreshing. It's
Oh, certainly.
no, it makes us feel a bit more legit. I
Mm.
think as a league, having some foreigners
Put
here,
some South American names in
having
there.
some blokes who love diving, love the theatrics of football, because that's half the game to them. No, it's great.
Hey, you like
Acting. Mate, they didn't get a gig as an actor, so
So they become a footballer.
yeah, exactly.
No, and if we look at I think it's round 9. Yeah, no, round 8. So the next round of A-League, I look at all these games and I think all close games.
Yeah.
So I'll go through them quickly. Melbourne at home to Perth,
Mm.
Brisbane Central Coast,
Mm.
Newcastle Wanderers, Western United Sydney FC, and Adelaide losing to the Phoenix.
I like the look of Western United Sydney FC.
Well, I actually really like the look of the first game too.
Mm.
Melbourne victory at home to Perth Glory.
Mm.
That's huge.
Two strugglers.
That Raw
Two
one as
strugglers.
well.
But they're two
Two sides that should be
Yeah.
doing better than
Two-
what they are.
two teams who should be, in some people's minds, 1 and 2 in the league.
Mm.
And this is Melbourne at home. They haven't won yet. And I feel that if they beat Perth, this is where they switch it on.
Kickstart their season a little bit.
Again, but if we're talking about another Melbourne loss in a week, geez, sirens going off. That's a red flag.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, how much did the Phoenix win by this weekend? 4 or 5?
Negative
remember.
3.
-3.
Yeah.
I think he'll remember this one for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You know?
This
Remember that first win of the 2019
It
A-League
kind of
season.
feels a little bit Warriors-y as well.
Yeah.
Don't say that, mate.
Sorry. Am I bringing up a sore spot?
No, thank God the All Blacks are world champions. Otherwise, I'd be really depressed. Oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh, wait. It's the Sappies.
Yeah, I got nothing
man.
going for me. No, it's
Dude.
It's hopefully the Phoenix have Gary Hooper come back this week.
Yep.
Obviously our star signing from used to play for Celtic and Norwich.
Yep.
He's had a quad injury pretty much since his first game
Yep.
where he played in the yellow and black. So if he's back,
Hopefully.
Maybe
that's
turn their season around
Didn't he
as
score
well.
in like the first game?
I think he did.
Yeah.
But that was still. So I go through different periods as a Phoenix fan of I won't watch. Might read a bit of news, then I'll fully commit, watch every game, build my day around it, get real depressed, stop watching it again.
I think you're just a
And
Kiwi,
repeat.
mate.
That's pretty much what it is,
I think
mate.
you're just a Kiwi. Quick mention to the Brisbane Bandits who've kicked off their season. We encourage everyone to go out to Holloway Field. They are the 4-time champions. Trying to make it 5 Destiny with a 5 as the S. So thank you, Brisbane Bandits marketing.
Good spelling.
Good stuff from you. But anyway, that's all we've got time for today, boys.
Should have used a $sign as yeah.
Oh, but then it wouldn't make sense with the 5.
I know, but it's cool.
That's why he comes up with the good marketing ideas and you don't.
Yeah, whatever. And what marketing have we done?
No, I'm just
No.
saying. He just said.
Hey, working PR. Come on. Come
Oh,
do PR. Mate, you've got an
Do a little bit of
internship at the
PR.
Courier Mail.
don't tell everyone about that. Come on.
Well, yeah, you could get your mate to actually do journalism one.
Yeah, I don't see. I might try and get an internship at NASA. I have absolutely no experience with anything related to that. But
Dude, that's funny. As long as I've been doing a podcast for bloody 18 episodes now. God.
Oh,
When
mate,
am I going to give it up?
give him a Walkley. Give him a Walkley. Do you know what a Walkley is?
fake
Give him
journalist.
Give him a Walkley.
I'm sorry, do I need to know what a
You
walk
do
is?
need to know what a
Well,
Walkley
if you're in line for one, you should.
You
No.
should.
Anyway, mate, you do the honours.
If you want to follow us on Instagram, it's @_beyond the sidelines_. Our Facebook is simply Beyond the Sidelines. Please go and listen to all of our previous episodes as well on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. Also on YouTube and Facebook. Boys, you got anything?
18 episodes. How close are we to saying goodbye to Gussie?
Oh my god.
I'd give you a shelf life of around 6 more.
Now, Gussie.
Can we make it to the 2-0 at least?
Exactly. I think the 2-0. Then we reevaluate.
End of the year.
Now,
Maybe see me off
You're
at
on
the
your
end of the
you're on
year.
your probation period.
Some
6-month probation period. You got 26 episodes.
26.
I only say that because I just
Jeez.
realised we didn't really have a dig at Gussie this episode.
Except for at the end there.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why we needed it to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I was feeling some withdrawals.
It was like, just let me.
Need a bully Gussie.
I think you
That's
need to
the-
buy me a Calippo, mate. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I was one, mate.
I'm bankrupt from Calippos. I have no money left. I bought so many.
And that's a
I'm
story.
addicted to them.
That's a story for another day.
And next week,